Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I got the platinum for Far Cry 6.
Not my fight.
If you guys don't know how these kinds of videos work, basically I'm going to go a little bit over the platinum, and it's usually just mainly a review though kind of video. But yeah, welcome back. It's been a while since I filmed a Road to Platinum video. So yeah, let's just hop straight into it. So, first off, I'm going to tell you how long it took me to get the platinum. It took me approximately 54 hours. This can be significantly reduced. I did explore a lot, and I did a lot of side activities on my own, and kind of just fucked around in the open world a lot. So I didn't do the platinum near as efficiently as you could do it. And I did backtrack a lot because I forgot to do things here and there throughout the game. It's a lot of kind of going back to old areas and double checking for chests and things like that to find unique weapons, and going back and redoing outposts because I didn't do all of them all at one time, so the insurgencies kind of fucked me. I'll talk about that a little more later as well. But with that, we're gonna start with the review section of the video. And I didn't really write like a platinum portion of the video. So I'm not gonna go over any of the trophies. Because they are all fairly straightforward. If you guys do need help, leave a comment down below and I will tell you whatever I can to help you. But overall, the platinum was very straightforward, and there's really no need for me to tell you or break down any of the trophies or anything like that. But we're going to start off with the story like I always do. As I do normally with the videos, I'm not going to get into a lot of detail, but I will tell you how I felt, and I thought it was a decent story. It's a classic Far Cry story. It was very good. It had a nice villain that was still memorable, which I was worried about going into this game, because there's just, when you see all like the early trailers and stuff and all the marketing, it seems like Antón is gonna be a main like character, but you barely see him. His screen time is nowhere near as high as it should be, but he still ended up being a memorable villain anyway. But also, every Far Cry villain has been memorable since 3, so it's not really that crazy that he is memorable. But good story. Enjoyed some of the set pieces, even though there was very few set pieces. There was a lot of like kind of stupid tasks. Just go in here, do this, fuck off. There was very few set pieces, but the ones that were there were cool. But yeah, it felt really nice. I enjoyed the story overall. But let's hop into the open world stuff now. So the open world is large. It is too large in my opinion. It seems very much quantity over quality in this case, but it's a big world, and it's a lot of forest. The whole map feels the same over and over again. It does not feel very varied. For how big it is, it feels like it's the same shit everywhere. So that sucks, and there's just not a lot to like see. There's not a lot to see in the world, and like my whole playthrough, I saw maybe like 5 locations that were somewhat unique and cool looking. And then everything else was the same thing everywhere, basically. So I didn't enjoy the map too much. I thought it was just too big. I did like the tropical setting, though, but the map was too big in the side content. There's quite a bit, but it's just your usual basic stuff. It's like, go take over a fucking anti-air cannon, destroy. So it's, go take over an anti-air cannon, and then once you destroy that, you can fly in that area, things like that. Or you got your, you do have a new one called intercept missions, radio missions, which all you do though is activate a radio and then get across to wherever it is at as fast as possible. They introduce checkpoints, which are basically just little fucking outposts. All they do is halt your progress. You literally makes it so driving on roads is a pain in the ass. So you have to go and take those checkpoints, otherwise you won't be able to drive through because your car will just fucking break. So that's cool. And then you still have your treasure hunts that were in Far Cry 5. which are cool to see. I did like the treasure hunts from 5. Then you also have proper side quests in this game, which is cool. Some of them reward you with certain weapons, gear, things like that. Some side missions also reward you with your amigos as well, which we will get into in a second a little more. There are also races around the map called Grand Primos, I believe. These seem to be very easy. They are fun, but they seem to be very easy, and it's very hard to actually lose. They're also not proper races, they are time trials. So take that for what it is too. They are just time trials. They are very easy, super hard to fail. In terms of like actual like mini games and things like that, you have a rooster fighting, which is kind of like a Mortal Kombat style rooster fighting mode. There's like 20 something roosters to pick through. They all have the same moves though, so it's not that in depth. You also have dominoes, which was cool. You know, it's dominoes. Everyone knows how to play dominoes for the most part. It's a simple little just table game. You also had bandito operations, which I thought these were pretty cool. You kind of go through this little operation, and you have to kind of pick which option is best and which survivability is higher, and then it kind of works in like a way where you just read what happens, which is kind of cool. The little stories here and there. But I thought that was pretty unique. This rewards you with resources that are harder to get usually. But yeah, it's pretty cool. You do have to wait a couple hours though for it to finish, which does suck in my opinion. But it's usually pretty decent stuff that does end up helping you out. But yeah, and then you also have special operations. These are like a side activity that doesn't take place on the main map, but basically all you do is go in, find the bomb, and you have to like carry it all the way back to where you came from, but you have to stay in the shadows, because if you're in the sun for too long, it'll just blow the fuck up. So, but you just have to get to extraction. These are usually challenging, but they get stale very quickly, and this was also the bulk of the post-launch content. They were adding like 3 or 4 of these maps. Yeah, they were adding like 3 or 4 of these maps about every like couple months. Or they added 3 or 4 maps overall, but they were doing it like every month or 2 for like the first year or whatever. So, but it was a decent game mode. It was just, I don't know, it didn't feel like anything crazy to me. I didn't enjoy it that much, to be honest. I got bored of it after my first couple operations. Oh yeah, you also use these operations for Lola. Oh, never mind. I think I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm gonna talk about that later. In terms of other side stuff, there is also a couple crossovers, such as the Danny Trejo crossover and the Stranger Things crossover. I did not play the Stranger Things crossover, but the Danny Trejo one was really cool. I did enjoy the jokes a lot, and it was just overall nice experience. Overall quest like layout was pretty cool, and Danny Trejo being there the whole time was just awesome. And then we got to talk about the insurgencies. Insurgencies are a thing that happen once a week, and it would reset a random region on the map where it would take back a base, a couple bases sometimes, a couple checkpoints, as well as a couple of anti-aircraft cannons. And you would have to go back through and re-destroy all this again. Doing so would get you Meninda, which will unlock you premium content for free because you go to Lola and spend it. You also get Meninda from Special Operations. It would also give you a weapon that was exclusive to that insurgency. And this was a really cool feature for the first like 4 or 5 months, but then it just kept resetting all your regions, and there's no more new rewards, so there's no reason to do it. And Lola's shop seems to not have every premium item, so she's rotating between the same like probably 20 or so items. So it all, at the end of the day, ended up being useless when it would reset, and it just fucked up everything because it kept resetting the entire fucking map for you. So it just ruined the entire experience as a whole. It sucked. But But yeah, like I was trying to platinum the game, and within the last 3 weeks that I was going for the platinum, there was 3 regions I just couldn't fast travel to anymore because I didn't have any of the shit anymore because it kept resetting completely. So it's not a very good system in my opinion. I wish you would be able to turn it off, but it is what it is. Now to like the actual gameplay. So it's still a Far Cry game. I mean, you're still going to do the same thing they added. I mean, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to go around fighting people, just killing shit, blowing shit up. They added multiple bullet types, but none of these matter. Only go for armor piercing. Everything else sucks. It's useless. If you use anything else, it's a literal pea shooter. So don't use any other weapon type, or bullet type, I mean. Because armor piercing is going to be your best bet. It'll kill everybody, no matter who it is. Yeah, so that's basically all you do. I don't know what that. Oh, if you want to ignore the RPG aspects, you're going to want to just sit there and use armor piercing, because then it feels like a normal Far Cry game. If you're sitting there and you're using anything else, everyone else is going to be bullet spongy enemies, and it's going to be a horrible experience. And, as I just said, it is an RPG, so it has a star rarity system, which does not matter in terms... What the fuck did I write here? Weapons have star rarity, which does seem to matter in terms of how many shots it's going to take. Oh yeah. So you have a star rarity system, and it does definitely seem, in terms of at least automatic weapons and when you're in combat, it does seem that the rarity actually does matter when killing an enemy, even with the armor piercing. So you're going to want to have overclocked weapons and things like that, which I'll get into in a little bit as well. But yeah, so the star rarity, it does matter, but it's, I don't know, it's a weird system. It's a weird system, dude. It's not good. Overclocked weapons are just overclocked weapons are just 4-star weapons. People are going to go down significantly faster than if you're using a 2-star or anything like that. There's also a shit ton of weapons. You have basically everything from Far Cry 5, part of the other game's arsenals, and even more. It's crazy. A ton of weapons, and then every weapon has like 2 or 3 types of it, like unique variants, which have like special cosmetics, and then also have like special like abilities. They're not really abilities, they just have attachments on them by default. So yeah, there's quite a bit of weapons. One thing I will say though, if you guys are turned off by this, there are guns that are locked behind the premium currency. So that is a big thing that I know. I have a couple friends who were kind of pissed about that, because there were some pretty good guns locked behind premium currency, and still are to this day. And I've yet to see some of them in Lola's shop, so that is something to know. The Kar 98K was a premium weapon that did end up being in Lola's shop. Cavs SMG, if you guys play Rainbow, was also premium currency, and I don't remember ever seeing that in Lola's shop. So it sucks that weapons like that are locked behind it, but it's how it is now. It's how Ubisoft is, and it's how they're going to be forever at this point. The only thing I really want to talk about gameplay-wise was that there is a gear system in the game now, and it works like the RPG Assassin's Creed games, so each gear has a star rating, and then each gear doesn't necessarily have a gear level, so there's no gear level. You're not worried about shit like that. You're just worried about the stats they have under them. So if you play Assassin's Creed, you know how legendary stats for legendary gear is tied to that item. It's basically every piece is just a legendary, and it has a couple stats under it, basically. So there aren't necessarily any bad gears, but there's just better abilities for that like scenario. You do have to use these though, because if you don't have like a full set of armor piercing, you are gonna get fucked up. Armor piercing defense, for me at least, was the only thing that really mattered in terms of gear. The only other time I switched gear up is like whatever it had a unique ability and I needed it for a certain scenario. I will say 2 unique weapons and armor in the game is pretty good, but it's that... What the fuck am I writing here? The armor just isn't a necessity. You really just have to make sure you have armor piercing defense, and that's it. There's a couple armor pieces that are unique though, and I would like if I would go hunting, I'd throw on my adventurer's cap because it would tag every animal around me, so it would just make it a lot easier. So there's a couple things like that overall just make doing like little tasks here and there easier. So there are some gear sets you want to have equipped for a certain scenario. That's shit, sorry. So you have your rides, which are nothing crazy. You have 4 cars that you can call anywhere on the map. But they're nothing crazy overall. The other thing I'm going to talk about real quick is the amigos. There's like 8 or 9 of them, and 4 of them are in the game by default, and 3 of them are DLC. Something like... So you got 2 panthers. Yeah, it's something like that. So you got 2 panthers. You got 2 different panthers you can have. You have Rooster, you have Guapo, which is an alligator, you have the K900, which is a dog from Far Cry 3, or Far Cry Blood Dragon, I'm sorry. And you have Chorizo, so yeah, and then you have another dog that I can't remember his name. But the amigos all have their separate ways of working. For the most part, the panthers are the same. They're both just stealth. Guapo and Chicharron are going in there and they're just fucking everything up in sight. Guapo... Oh, sorry, hold on. Boom Boom, that's the other dog. And both the panthers are stealth. And then Chorizo will distract guards for you. That's basically it for amigos, though. You can level up their abilities, or you can as you use them, their abilities level up, so they unlock like new subcategories of abilities that they can do. I can't explain it very well, but overall, base game of Far Cry, I'd probably give it. I wrote a 6 out of 10 on this, but I'm probably gonna say a 4 out of 10 after reading that. Because that just made me realize how shit the game is. So I'm saying 4 out of 10. It's not a good game. It's not even close to the other games at all. But now we're going to be getting into the DLC of Far Cry 6. Starting with the Voss DLC. This DLC follows Voss trying to escape his mind, and it's roughly about an hour long for a single run. But it's a roguelike, so you're most likely going to do probably 4 or 5 runs to do everything. So you can stretch it out to about 6 hours for a whole playthrough. Story is actually very cool. I'm not going to go into super depth, but you learn a lot more about Voss as a character, more about his childhood things. Like, you get to see how Citra kind of formed him into the person he was in Far Cry 3. And I thought it was really cool the way the upgrade system works in the safe houses. It's really cool to... Oh, what the fuck? Oh, I love how the upgrade system works, and the safe houses are really cool too. So you have the mirror, which will give you different trades. What? Upgrades. So we'll unlock the camera ability, have extra syringes, have more health, gain health from headshots, unlock new gadgets, which is bombs, mines, throwing knives, and Molotovs. I believe you can also reroll and get different gadgets, and you can also reroll weapons. Oh, no, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. And in terms of weapons, you unlock them by doing a challenge. Each one is a different difficulty based off the weapon, and then you can go back to your safe house and upgrade the cases, which increases how many mods and overall how much damage the weapon does. You can also reroll mods, so you can get different attachments and stuff. It's super cheap to do the pistol, so that's what I was doing every playthrough for all the games, all the DLCs. And then, but I would upgrade the pistol all the way, and then all the other guns. Once you unlock them, the first time you can buy them from the safe house, or you can just go and do their challenge and get them again. Also, once you do the challenges the first time, there's a chance to get the unique weapons from each challenge. You can also just see if they're there by looking at the map but the unique weapons are like completely different guns than the base ones are, so that was cool, because, like, a couple of the DLCs are just weird in terms of guns, but it was cool to be able to go back, do the unique thing, and get a gun that actually suited the character a little better. In terms of side content, this DLC, there really isn't any, because all of it's pretty much main content. You kind of have to do it, and that's how it is for all the DLCs. You're going to play through Voss's memories, and this will kind of just give you some more lore to him. And these are generally straightforward. You just go through them and just kind of follow the story. And then, of course, like I said, you have the weapon challenges. You have safe houses, which all you have to do is kill enemies around the safe house to unlock them. There's this endurance survival stuff. So these are super hard, like wave-based survival kind of things. And you just have to survive for, it's usually like 4 minutes or so. Once you do that, you get the ability to stay alive one more time after death, which unlocks parts of the knife, which helps unlock parts of the knife that will help Voss escape at the end of the DLC. You can also sell these if you don't want them. They give you $1,000, which is super helpful. But what I usually do is I keep 2 of them and I sell the rest, and then I usually just kind of get through the rest of the story pretty easy. There are also little fast travel doors you can find around the map that just speed things along a little bit. They're not necessary, but they are helpful. And then in terms of like actual story stuff, there's 3 big memories you have to go to, and you want to just get through them. They're usually super hard, have some boss fights in them, and then that will get you a part of the knife. Once you get all 3 parts of the knife, you can go back to the compound that you spawn in, and you have to go through at least 5 waves, but you could stay there for up to 20 waves for the max amount of points. And then once you meet at the first, once you beat the first time, you unlock all mine levels, which means that you can go and change the difficulty and make it hard on yourself. There's also a bunch of little alternative stats being changed and stuff like that in terms of the mine levels. You can change in. There's so much like modifiers. It all pops up though when you go to change them. And then real quick before we move on to the next DLC, the setting itself is kind of a jungle island, just like Far Cry 3 in a way. It's just basically a trippy version of the jungle, and it has a lot of the same assets from Far Cry 3. From like, it had the same kind of containers and the same kind of grapple points, things like that. It was basically like a complete homage to Far Cry 3. But cool environments, some jungle area to explore. There's also a huge volcano, and there was also some beach. Overall, super cool DLC. This is a really good DLC, and I wish I played it at launch. I'm genuinely sad that I had waited so long to play it. But it's a good deal, good DLC. I give it a 7 out of 10, just because I don't like roguelites a lot, but this one was pretty good. So take the net. So now on to the next one, which is Pagan's DLC. This DLC, I'm not going to talk about it too much because it's relatively the same thing. I'll give you a little bit of insights here and there, but yeah, overall these next 2 parts will be pretty short, just because Pagan and Joseph's DLCs are relatively the same. You're going to be doing the same things and the same kind of activities. It'll be on different worlds with different guns and slightly different objectives. So for Pagan's, he has a whole new different arsenal of guns, mostly except for his grenade launcher and bow and arrow, obviously. Just like Voss, everything comes with unique variants that you can unlock after doing the weapon challenge the first time. His currency is different. It's called respect instead of cash. And the setting is basically like a little version of Kirat, which looks really cool, and I just really love the vibe and colors because, yeah, I just love the vibe and colors. They go really well together. You got all this pink, purple, and gold and red everywhere, and it flows very nicely, and it looks very good. His upgrade system is the exact same as Voss's. All that activities are basically the same, of course. His main 3 memories are going to be different iterations, and there's going to be different boss fights, and different puzzles, and completely different story. And this DLC tackles Pagan's relationship with his family before the events of Far Cry 4, and like an alternate reality version of his family. And it's him telling himself how he wants to remember his life because he's in the process of dying. And then just like Voss, when you finish all of it, you go to the end and you can survive for 20 waves if you want, or you could leave after 5. But yeah, this is another great DLC. I would give it an 8 out of 10, just because I like the setting a little more. And I also did enjoy seeing this side of Pagan because it was a lot of new information and made me appreciate him more as a character. Also, you guys, if you guys didn't know, Far Cry 4 is my favorite. But I generally enjoyed seeing a new side of Pagan. He is still a bad person, don't get me wrong, but it was nice to see some new stuff for him. And last but not least, it is Joseph's DLC. This DLC was super solid. The setting is sort of like Montana. It's basically just a mini version of Montana, basically. Like Far Cry 5. But there's some, like, black, strange, like, corruption, I guess is what you could call it, going on. And it kind of goes, it's part of the story. But it kind of goes through Joseph and his path with his family, and what led him down the road to the events of Far Cry 5. As well as a little bit of what's in Far Cry New Dawn. But yeah, it was a good DLC. Again, the guns mostly made no sense. Pissed me off. Most of the guns made no sense for him to have. The only guns that made sense for him to have was the P226 and the AR-15. All the other guns weren't even in Far Cry 5. But yeah, it was very confusing. The activities are the same setup, and everything to do story-wise is relatively the same. But this one I'd probably also give an 8 out of 10. It was really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit overall. It took me about 6 hours to beat all these DLCs. I did 100% of them. I didn't get all the trophies. I didn't feel like it because I was just fucking tired by the time I beat all of them. I also did not do Between Worlds because it looks stupid as fuck. And I didn't want to deal with another roguelite. So, but yeah, Between Worlds just did not look appealing to me at all, so I did not play it. I could see how some people could like it, I guess, but it's definitely not for me, so. But yeah, I'm sorry, I seem to struggle a lot reading that. I think it's because it's just been a while since I've done a video like this, and I like talked into my phone for the script, so a lot of the writing is just fucked up for me. But yeah, this was my first time doing a Road to Platinum video in a while. I didn't really know what to cover. It was kind of hard to get back into writing a whole script like that again, so it was also just kind of hard to even platinum this game. There's a couple moments. I mean, I started going through the platinum again, and then I deleted it and went back like 2 months later and finished it. So it was a rough experience because I'm realizing I don't like this game at all. The DLCs are better than the base game. So yeah, I don't know. I did not enjoy the base game at all. After reading that script and after my entire experience with the platinum, the base game was not good at all. The DLCs were fucking awesome though. I did like the DLCs a lot. But yeah, in terms of Road to Platinum videos, our next video is probably going to be, let me think, probably going to be Assassin's Creed Syndicate. I'm not sure yet. It's either going to be Assassin's Creed Syndicate or it's going to be Fallout 4, because I have the script for Fallout 4 written and I already have the game platinumed and the DLC's done. I'm just waiting for the PS5 version to come out so I could add that to the script, because I'm going to kind of have it be like a review for the PS5 version at the same time. But yeah, so that's going to do it. Also, we are going to be starting Mass Effect Andromeda on Monday, so yeah, we're going to play another shitty game, so I don't know, hopefully it's good. I'm not too far into it yet as of filming this. I'm like 3 episodes in, but hopefully it's good. We will see. And then after Andromeda, we're going back to the Yakuza series for a couple games, so. But yeah, with that done, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below what you guys want to see on the channel in the future. And I'll see you guys very soon in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace out, guys.